we're going to have a little look at retic now. We've talked about some of the different ways to water, and we just want to show you the way that we water here at Ecoburbia. As we talked about, retic takes so much less water, and so we're going to talk about installing drip irrigation. So I'm just going to show you a little bed here. Our water source is coming from along here under the ground. I have a piece that's coming up. This is 25mm pipe, which we're using quite partly because we've got such a big garden. I've got this little elbow that comes along here, another elbow, third elbow, and then that goes along the edge of my garden bed. So that's going all the way down the edge. And then this piping is 13mm and it is drip irrigation. So we'll show you some more drip irrigation out the front in a minute. But this basically has little drippers spaced along, and that's where the water actually comes from, and that spreads out from there across the whole bed. So you'll notice these are about 15 centimeters apart. Some of these got a bit close, but they're about 15 centimeters apart as you lay them. And what we've done, we've actually got another layer of 25mm pipe on the other side. So what happens is the water rushes down here, it rushes across, and then it rushes down that other 25mm pipe. So all of these get filled up with water, but if there's a kink in one, say that gets kinked for some reason, it still waters. If I just had them as stopping, all of them stopping at the end, if this one kinked, none of that would get water. Whereas this way, if this kinks, the water's going to come in this side, but it's also going to come in that other side. So a lot sturdier in its layout, a lot more equal pressure from water, and it deals with any kinks that you might have. Now what we've done is, rather than having a pipe that runs right down the other set of the beds, we've actually, and you can see it, we've actually created some end zones on each side. So you can buy fancy stoppers for your retic. We actually just use a bit of old plumbing pipe. And what that means is, when I want to re-establish this bed, which we're going to do a bit later, I can simply lift this up, do whatever it is I want to do in this bed, add some compost, whatever I need to do before I do my plantings, and then I can lay it back down again. Okay, put my mulch over and stick my plants in. Sorry, little spinach. So what we're going to show you, we'll go out the front to the garden bed that we made, and we'll actually show you two things. One is how you attach the 13mm dripper to the 25mm dripper, and also how it is you attach these elbows. Because once you can do that, you really can figure out the rest of your retic. We learnt our retic journey started when we actually hired someone to come to our house, and he put in one bed, and he was really great. He taught me what to do, and then I was able to do the other beds. But we buy all our retic stuff from specialist retic suppliers, and they're really handy because you can explain, even take a diagram in of your garden, and they'll tell you exactly what it is you need to buy and what you need to get. So recommend spending some time and some effort in establishing the retic in your garden so that you don't have to worry so much about watering in summer. Let's have a look at how to do it. G'day, Tim.
G'day, Shani.
How you going?
Cracker of a day, Cobber.
Hey, can you show us some of those ways of putting retic together?
No worries.
Maybe we could talk in non-Aussie accents.
Whew, thank God for that. Okay, so one of the first things I think that Shani talked about was the drippers. So see that little hole in the front there, that's where the water comes out. However, if we turn it over and cut the back out.
You don't do this, I suppose, when you put retic in, do you?
No, not for every single one. This is just a demonstration.
Aha.
So you can see in there, there's a pressure compensator, which makes the stops the water coming out too quick. What it means is that when you turn the tap on, or when the timer comes on, the whole system, both ends and all the bits in the middle, are under pressure, and they need to be under equal pressure. Otherwise, the ones near the tap would have water coming out, and the ones away from the tap would have no water coming out. So it basically turns the whole thing into a charged hydraulic system.
Does that stop dirt and ants and stuff getting in there as well?
Yes, ants and root incursion. They
Fantastic.
tend to be pretty much set and forget these things. Okay, so later I'll show you how to attach them, but first I'll show you how to put an elbow in. I think Shani mentioned we use 25mm pipe. So you get your 25mm pipe. And,
What were you cutting it with then?
I was cutting it with a pair of snips, which usually
Wonder if
work.
that's what you're meant to use.
I know, but it does work. And if it doesn't work, if you've got really blunt snips or weak hands, you can use a Stanley trimmer with a nice sharp blade. So you get your 2 bits of pipe and some hot water. If you've got a cup of tea handy, you can dip it in your cup of tea.
Ugh.
So here we go. I'll just drop the end in there for a minute. Doesn't have to be in there too long.
Why do you need to do that?
Well, it makes it a lot softer. The pipes, particularly the 25mm pipe, can get quite stiff and it's pretty hard on your hands, especially if you've got arthritic cold hands. So what I've done there is heated up the pipe and then pushed the fitting. This is an elbow, but the same principle applies for tees. So I've pushed the elbow in, and now the only other thing I've got to do is put this over there. Remember I said the whole system's hydronically charged, so if you just turned it on, this might blow apart. So what I'm going to do is put one of these clips on. So these clips go together like that and pull apart like that.
You can tell we're not professionals, everyone, because we've got the bore and the retic going in the background. And we might actually wait for them to stop and then we'll keep on going.
Maybe we should have a cup of tea.
Let's have a cup of tea.
All right.
What you got there, Tim?
Well, whenever anything goes wrong, I always recommend stop and have a cup of tea.
Look at that tea.
Do you like a cup?
I'd love a cup.
All right.
See you all in a while. We're having a cup of tea. Okay, Tim, I think we're ready to go again.
So we just put the cup of tea aside.
All right.
Now we're talking about how to put an elbow together. So we've got one half in. Now we'll put the other half in. Get your bit of 25mm pipe. Put it in the thermos or in your cup of tea. And then push it on here. That's so I was saying, the retic, when it's cold, the pipe gets quite stiff. And there we go again, the little ring that goes around here, clips, what are they called?
Clips.
Ceiling clips, yeah, clips.
So do you have to like put that in the right spot? Is there a little barb to tell or something like that?
Well, you can actually see here where the bulge of the barb is. You can imagine that there, you can see the barb. And what happens is you put the ring in there and it stops
over the barb.
Sliding off that.
Okay.
So put it in and flip it up.
I don't use those. Do you want to show everyone what I use?
Shani just uses the tail end of her snippers.
Can do anything with good snippers.
There we go. Okay, so that's how you put an elbow together, and say, you know, that might be the bit that goes in there, so that as your compost drops down, your retic still sits on it. And
Okay, now 13mm to 25mm.
How does the 13mm go in there? It's a similar process. You use these little fellas called takeoffs, and you use them because, you know, they take off from the 25mm pipe and you put them on the 13mm pipe.
Listen to that. Clips, takeoffs, it all makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Now, because these things are again quite small and hard to push, you can use this little douvry, which is the punch.
It's called a douvry.
Yeah, the douvry. So you put the douvry on the douvry, and then you put the other douvry in the hot water.
That's not a douvry, that's an end.
So this is the 13mm pipe. See how I cleverly cut the 13mm pipe away from the hole?
Yeah. You do that a few times when you're putting in retic, don't you?
You push that on there. Okay, and then we need a little 13mm clip. Same principle. Goes together that way, comes apart that way. put one of them on there. So this is the thing with because the whole thing's under pressure at once with drip irrigation, you don't want anything blowing apart, okay? So then we use the punch.
Hang on, the punch.
The punch, pinch and punch for the first of the month. It's got a sharp edge on it here, and you just push it in there.
So that's how you get the hole the exact right size.
That's how you get the hole the exact right size. Then push that bit in there. Voila.
Oh, gee, it made a thud when it went in.
Yeah.
No clip needed there, hey?
No, that's it.
Look at that.
Might go and finish my cup of tea now.
Can I just mention one thing as the gardener?
Sure.
I don't know if I mentioned this before, but if you offset those drippers, so the next one you have the dripper
So down here.
that close like that,
Or up there.
then as you can imagine, you get a pocket of water here and a pocket of water here, as opposed to 2 pockets in a row like that. You don't want it like that, or you'll have a big gap. So, yeah, that takes a little bit of thinking, and you might find that you waste a bit of pipe, but gee, it's worth it.
Cheers.
Just like that cup of tea.